Steps, never counted them before. The distance between the middle and upper floor of my own house, and I never counted them. Never came up here for all the years when it was Bob Levitt's room. He wasn't the man who ever wanted visitors. 12 stairs. I feel proud of myself. Each one was a little bit harder. If it was 20 stairs, I'd have taken another half hour. If it had been 100, I'd never have got here at all. But I have got here. I'm not quite beaten yet. What ails you, Dr. Johnson? 75 years ail me. My lungs and heart have been working for 7.5 decades. 3/4 of a century. A lot of those years here in London, plenty of smoke from sea coal, plenty of river mist, plenty of foul, pestilential air brewing and brewing in the narrow streets and the courts and the alleyways, and plenty of sick and dying people, breathing their dying out into the crowded air. Pestilence. Pestilence. Sit down. Can't stand for long. It's old age, not the most attractive part of one's life. Doesn't matter though, some things go out, some things come in. I'm wiser as I am now, I understand far more. My body becomes less useful to me, but my mind more so. Well, the French put it very well in that proverb of theirs, si jeunesse savait, si vieillesse pouvait. Trust them, they always have a neat way of wrapping things up. Youth. It's wonderful. What old worn-out biped wouldn't be grateful, more than grateful, to be young again, just for one day. You're thoughtless at that age. You hurt people terribly, and it's years before you even see you hurt them. Then you want to go to them, ask their forgiveness, put everything right, make amends to them, and you can't. Because they're not there anymore. Human life is so short. They go, they disappear, they take their wounds and their pain away into eternity, and then you can't go to them and heal them. Yes. I'm thinking of my father, that good and brave man, not loved enough, not admired enough, not by me, not by anybody. Michael Johnson, bookseller of Lichfield. His battle was harder than mine. I had to fight till I was 52, then I became Pensioner Johnson, a royal pension honoured by the king. But what a cur I was to him. What a surly, ungracious cur. Ah. There were times when he must have hated me. I was so damn sorry for myself at having to leave Oxford. I came back to that house in Lichfield Marketplace with a heart full of bitterness. Sam? What? It's Uttoxeter Day. It's always Uttoxeter Day if you're in Uttoxeter. It's Market Day, Sam. It's the day when we have our stall. Our stall? Yes, we go over and mind our stall. Oh, you do that. You always do that. I do as a rule, but I can't do it today. I've got too much to do here. I shall have to spend the day at my desk putting the accounts in order, sending out reminders on all those unpaid bills. If they hold out on me much longer, I shan't be able to order any new stock. Oh, damn the stock. Nobody buys it anyway. Damn the stock. The stock's books, Sam. I thought you respected books. I respect them all right, but not enough to stand behind a market stall and sell them to people. You're too good for that, aren't you, Sam? Because that's trade. And you've been mixing with gentlemen who look down on tradesmen. Oh, you respect books. You like people who read books, but they mustn't try to buy them from you, must they, Sam? No, if you want the truth, they mustn't. I'll talk to people about books, but I'm not going to stand behind a market stall and sell books to them. Come to that, I'll eat a beefsteak, but I'm not going to work in a slaughterhouse. I remembered so little. Only how he took me sometimes on summer days to the deep part of the stream at Stone Mill to teach me to swim. Like this, Sam, he'd say, and make the movements, or kick out with your feet like you've seen frogs doing. I can hear him say that, and I can see his face looking kindly at me when I've done it well. I soon got the hang of it. I can swim quite well at 10 years old. 40 years later, I surprised the fashionable world at Brighthelmston with all those smart rich people who were taking up sea bathing because it was the latest fad and the king did it. They didn't know that Dr. Johnson could swim. That was you, Dad, you, standing on the bank and showing me, with the 3 spires of Lichfield Cathedral reaching up into the sky behind you. Like this, Sam, and I did it like that. That was the only thing I ever did for you. Wouldn't even spend a day looking after a stall. Talking to a woman, there's always a little edge to it. A little disturbance. Keeps your soul from falling asleep on the job. There's a door between you and her, even if you've no intention of going through it. You can't push it away. The Almighty put it there. Not going to start talking back to him at this stage. He knows best. I think so. Sometimes he opens it a little way. Lets it stand ajar, gives you a glimpse. Other times it's well and truly shut and tells you so. I'm shut. And even a shut door can radiate suggestion. More than an open one sometimes. Of course, if you're Boswell, you march up to the door and beat a good loud tattoo of knocks on it to say, "Open up and let me in and be quick about it." And if the door doesn't open, as it usually doesn't, he just marches on to the next one, bangs on that. Never been my way. I stand before it in wonder. The dictionary made a famous man of me. Changed my fortunes. I had to struggle with it for 9 years, but in the end I managed to dispatch it at last. Even then, even after the dictionary came out, and my ears were ringing with the praises of all the nation, and I was Dictionary Johnson, the greatest living authority on the wonderful English language and how to get the best out of it. Even then I was a poor man, with the dictionary still fresh off the press, still a new book. I was arrested for a debt of £5 18 shillings. They were going to drag me off to a debtor's prison and I might quite easily never have got out. My friend Richardson paid the bill for me. He was a fellow author who was doing better than I was, and besides, he had a shop to fall back on. A couple of years later, I was in debt again, on the way to prison again, for £40 this time. Oh, it's a serious sum. Not everyone who was a friend could afford to lend me that. In the end, a publisher paid it for me. It was another 7 years before the pension arrived. Lord Bute told the king that he ought to give me a pension, then kept prodding the sleepy old thing till he did it. So, they were my 3 saviours, a fellow author, a publisher, and a lord. Exactly the 3 classes of folk most writers make targets of. My mother's letters. Every letter she ever sent me when I left home when I was 28. I kept them all, ma'am. I never lost a single one. I took care of them, ma'am.
People are going to be very disappointed in you, Sam, if you don't show some results. You're clever, and clever people can't just live for themselves, can they, Sam?
No, ma'am.
No, they can't, Sam. They owe something to other people, ordinary people who aren't clever, who can only do ordinary things. They expect a lot from clever ones. Of course, you could be clever and just use it to benefit yourself, to get things that ordinary people can't get. You could be clever and wicked. Oh, there have been people like that in history for sure. But where are they now, Sam? They're in the bottomless pit, aren't they? They had the whip hand over everybody till the day they died, but then whoosh, Oh, you wouldn't want to be in their shoes after that day came, would you, Sam? Down there in the bottomless pit with all the fire and the hot rocks and the sulphur and the devils prodding and poking you about to make sure you never stopped suffering for a moment and doing it forever. Wouldn't matter how clever you were then, would it? And if you pleaded with them, if you said, have mercy, leave me alone, give me a little rest from pain, let me out of this place if it's only for 1 day, 1 hour, what do you think they'd say to that, Sam? They'd laugh at you, wouldn't they? They'd say, it's too late for that now, my fine friend. If you were so clever, why didn't you see this coming while you could still do something about it? Prod, prod, laugh, laugh. And they treat you worse than ordinary backsliding people because clever people ought to know better. I don't know, ma'am. I thought I was doing my best, ma'am. This has been a good day, a learning day. I feel lighter. Oh, I almost feel young again. Well, it hasn't disturbed such wisdom as the years have brought me, but it seems to have burnt away the dross. You know, the pain, the fatigue, the guilt. That's what the fire did for me. Something has swung open a cell door and I feel free, at last, to be Sam Johnson. Yes.